Yeah, I mean, I talk about that an awful lot. I studied a lot of, studied and was very interested in sort of NLP, and that question of what do you want in the micro, in the macro, being the absolute key in sort of life. Because people sort of, I suppose it's that thing of going, what does something represent? Someone might say, well, I want a Ferrari. But why? If you sort of dig a little deeper, you can't just ask once, what do you want? Well, I want a Ferrari and a Rolex and all of the trappings. But actually what they want is status. So it's kind of asking yourself, what game are you going to play? I've read a lot of that René Girard stuff about sort of mimetic desires. So this idea that you've got what you really want at kind of a fundamental level, it's about you and what you perceive you should have compared to others. So this idea of kind of being honest about what you want and why you want it.
Well, splitting apart what is a genuine desire that's come from you, that's been self-authored, and what is just the things that you've taken from the way you dealt with past trauma and what your parents valued and what society says that you should, and the paths of least resistance and your genetic predisposition. This beautiful quote that says, ultimately happiness comes down to choosing between the discomfort of becoming aware of our mental afflictions and the discomfort of becoming ruled by them. And it's this.
Yeah, it's a lot though, isn't it? I mean, it's like, I don't think anyone gets there. No. By the way, I think there's slightly, I think sometimes when I hear people kind of interviewed talking about this stuff, there's a sense of, oh, well, you know, I'm enlightened now and I knowing that I only want that thing because you've got that thing, and I want the new iPhone because you've got the new iPhone. Knowing that doesn't really make any difference, because when you're out there in the world, you've still got to live a life and do something.
Correct.
But it's about what that Will Storr book I thought was phenomenal. The Status Game. I mean, all these books are great, actually. He's a really interesting, sort of underrated writer. He's wonderful. But that thing of like going, well, actually, you pick what status game you play in. You can have anything. You can't have everything. It's that thing of just the words seem to be very important to me. The idea of saying you can work for anything in life to a kid, as opposed to you can have anything, is the difference between ambition and entitlement. Summed up. There's that lovely thing you sent out the other day.
Yes.
The difference between ambition and entitlement being,
ambition is when you expect yourself to close the gap between what you have and what you want. Entitlement is when you expect others to close the gap between what you have and what you want.
Yeah, that thing of like agency seems... That's very high on my list of like getting back to what do you want.
There's a really great quote from Mark Manson where he talks about the most important question to ask yourself is what pain are you willing to endure in your life, rather than what pleasure do you want? Because any pleasure or any pursuit that you want is going to come with an in-kind payment of pain. Well, even your stuff, the fatigue, the road, the travel, everything else.
Yeah. But that thing of like, the all self-help is hard choices now, easy life later. Everything is the marshmallow test, and that's really about saying, well, your ambitions should be feelings, not things.
What's the difference?
Well, the idea that you go, well, how do I want to feel, is something that you go, well, that's an ambition you can have. I want to feel happy, I want to feel contented, I want to feel healthy, I want to feel fulfilled, wanting those things. Wanting material things, well, the reason you want the material thing is to give you the feeling. So just cut out the middleman.